Activity 3 of our ICTC6212 PoE is a lesson plan in the South African context for 30 marks. In this activity, you will be developing a plan for a technology-enhanced lesson on the topic chosen in Activity 1, using the software tools chosen in Activity 2. Right, so this is how you can see everything is linked. So the same subject, the same topic that you have chosen in Activity 1, you are going to use to develop a lesson plan for Activity 3, where you include the software tools that you have chosen in Activity 2. You have chosen 2 tools, but you are not limited to only 2 tools or apps in this lesson plan. You may use more if you prefer that, if you want to. For this lesson plan, you can refer to Chapter 3 on how to complete the lesson plan. Copy and paste the plan into your Word document and add the lesson information. All sections must be completed. I've already copied the lesson plan that we want you to use into the Word template that I've given on VC Learn, so you can just complete that lesson plan. So this is the lesson plan where you need to explain what each element of the lesson plan relates to in the TPAC theory. So like you would remember for one of our ICE tasks, we did a lesson plan and I've uploaded a lesson plan memo, which is actually tips on how to complete this lesson plan by incorporating the TPAC model, by showing which body of knowledge fits into which element in this in this lesson plan. So please consult that lesson plan memo. It will give you a good idea of what to do in which section of this lesson plan. So you are going to fill in your CAP specific focus and the lesson plan according to the case study. I don't know why I said case study, to the topic that you have chosen for the subject. Here you are going to indicate what activities you are going to give the learners to support your instruction, what ICTs will the learners draw from. So in other words, what are you going to do to teach the content and what ICTs the teacher are going to draw from to deliver instruction. So this part of our lesson plan is actually the same as section H of our normal lesson plan. This first part is sections A, B, C, D, E, F, G of your lesson plan, and this is the introductory phase, the teaching and learning phase, and the closure phase. But you can have more than 3 steps in this lesson plan. Every step here is something that the teacher does, the learners do, the ICT that they have used, and the time that you are going to spend on this part of the lesson. So say for instance, in this first step, you are going to write what the teacher is going to do. You are going to say, for instance, the teacher is going to introduce the topic by giving the learners a diagnostic assessment to assess their prior knowledge. The learners are going to complete an assessment on, let's say, Kahoot to see what they already know about this topic, which is space and shape for grade 5. The ICT that is used is Kahoot, and the time spent on this is going to be 5 minutes. Next step, the teacher is going to show a YouTube video with a little song on space and shape. The learners are going to listen attentively to the song because at the end they are going to perform it or whatever, and you describe what you are doing step by step in your lesson plan. So you can have 10 steps here if you like. If you want to set it out like this, This is actually because remember in your second part of your lesson plan, the teaching and learning phase, you have more than just one step. You have a few steps of how the teacher scaffolds the content and how the learners scaffolds their knowledge by being actively involved in that lesson. So this should be clear in this section. Here you describe the homework and the assessment, and then you need to provide a contingency plan for when something happens, like for instance, load shedding, or your laptop is flat, the battery, what are you going to do? So what is plan B if the lesson cannot be performed with the technology that you planned it with? What would you do then? And what would the learners do instead of watching a video or completing it on an assessment on Kahoot? What will the learners be doing? Though their activities as well as the teachers' activities. All right, so the contingency plan will also be a little bit longer than this space. So the checklist before you end off your lesson plan and you think that you are fine, please check that you have included a TPAC body of knowledge in every element of your lesson plan. Then have you explained why you have chosen that particular body of knowledge? Number 3, does your teacher activity encourage 21st century pedagogy? If yes, in what ways? Does your learner activity encourage 21st century learning? If yes, in what ways? So these little tips you will address inside this lesson plan. You will say the teacher is going to use the learner's critical thinking skills, for instance. So I want to see 21st century pedagogy as well as 24th century skills that the learners are going to develop in your lesson plan. You have to describe that, as well as how you have included every body of knowledge of the TPAC knowledge, or TPAC model in your lesson plan. And this, sorry, I just want to go back. These bodies of knowledge is clearly indicated in your lesson plan memo, which I have uploaded for you on VC Learn. So do not delete that body of knowledge. Please keep it in the lesson plan. You can just have it in black and not in red. You will see on the tips or the memo, it is included in red. That is just for you to see it easily, but you can just change your font to black. And there on the tips, I have explained to you how to explain how that body of knowledge is used in the lesson plan. Let's look at the rubric. The rubric for this activity: subject, topic, grade, and learning outcomes match CAP's requirements. Sorry, I just needed to close my windows. My dogs are barking for the dogs in the street, so sorry for that. Right, so let's just go to the rubric. The subject, topic, grade, and learning outcomes match CAP's requirements, so that is actually very easy to earn those 2 marks. A comprehensive summary on the teaching strategies or methods appropriate for this specific lesson for 3 marks, to be excellent or 2 good. Technology selected includes consideration of evaluation results, actually activity 2, to achieve the lesson outcomes. So if you have chosen one of those, or if you have chosen the app that you have evaluated in activity 2 to be the best suited for your lesson outcomes, please included in the consideration so that we know which technology you have used and why. So also include why you have chosen it. For everything that you mention, you need to give reasons. A comprehensive list of resources appropriate to achieving the lesson outcomes selected. Contextual consideration describes how technology achieved the lesson outcomes. Comprehensive pedagogical justification on the use of technological tools. A minimum of 5 teacher and learner activities reflect the lesson described in Activity 1 and include appropriate ICT integration in at least 3 activities. So please read this, minimum of 5 teacher and learning activities. So this refers to these numbers here. So you need at least 5. Homework includes technology tools and achieves lesson outcomes. Assessment correctly describes the marking process based on activities. The contingency plan describes how the lesson will continue without connectivity. So you would see each of these elements in this rubric is addressed in the lesson plan by also describing the TPAC model, like technology, pedagogy, the content. So everything relates to the TPAC model here because you are using technology to teach content. That's why we can implement the TPAC model in our lesson plan.